And then we will be joined by Chief Dr. Emmanuel Ryanama, who is a socio-political commentator and advocate of good governance. He is also a seasoned and licensed human resource practitioner. And we still have with us virtually Mr. Alexander Oji. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for being part of this particular conversation. Let me start off with you, Mr. Oji. What do you make of this particular call from Aliko Dangote, given the fact that even those who happen to be within the corridors of power don't even patronize Nigerians to start with? We saw the SUV that the president bought for the members of the National Assembly, and we have a Nigerian also who is running such business, yet they were not being, the products were not being bought from them. Rather, it was an imported vehicle. What do you make of this call and the fact that it's been tied also to the growth and prosperity of Nigeria?
It's a laudable call, but just like you cited too, we wish indeed that the people at the top would adhere to, because they say charity begins at home. You know, why it is very important that it is seen as not just a call, but as a national policy, is that this is what every country is doing. They prioritize their own, in fact, they are proud of their own homemade grown stuffs. And that's why it should be a culture to Nigerians promoting their own local indigenous products and services. Not just products. We should also look at the services being provided by our own selves. Because the fact that I know him, I know her, who can render such services, and I can reach him or her at any point in time, gives me the comfort of being, feeling at home. But because it has become a trend that we look out for anything across the border, in fact, we see it as more genuine. We see it as even more, that it has more content than it is. And in most cases, this is not, it's not as effective or as quality as compared to the locally produced indigenous products and services. The one thing I would probably even call on Dangote is to see how he can support the local MSCs, including the local industries, and also individuals who are willing to demonstrate and showcase to the fact that they are available to produce these local goods. Because the problem again is that we are having two conflicting policies. The government is shutting the doors for other products to come in. And meanwhile, we don't have enough to meet with the local demands. And that has never addressed the problem.
Nigerians too. That happened to be the concern of some Nigerians. Because some persons were asking, where are these goods that we're going to get from? We learned about, I think, over 7,000, manufacturers also shut up their business to say they are not doing it because of the fact that the policies are not favorable. So where are the goods now that Nigerians are expected to buy?
Just a few months ago, I think over 8 months ago, I raised the concerns that it is disturbing now. A lot of people may not notice it. But of course, if you go to the supermarkets regularly, you'll find out that most of the supermarkets shelves are either half or completely empty because there are no goods to display. It's simply telling us that it is a bad economy. In a situation where we don't have even our own local products on the shelves, then we're doing ourselves more harm. Because when people have nothing to eat, they become more hungrier, they become less productive. And yet, this is a fertile land with able-bodied men and women available to do the needful. All they need is also direction. That's where the leadership is lacking. We have the demands, and then we have the people that can provide or fill in these demands. But because we have leadership crisis, we have the wrong people at the helm of affairs. And that is why we're losing the chances each day to make Nigeria a better country. Now, the ordinary man on the street, if he's well-fed, clothed, and has a house or roof over his head, he doesn't care who's even governs. And that's where the people at the top miss it. Because they believe it is having to showcase to them at their campaign rallies that means that Nigerians are doing well. It shows you that you have a lot of jobless people out there. If you can do a rally, on any day you call out a rally, you see thousands of people. It shows us that there's a bigger problem in the nation. Because the people are not coming because they are out of or their holidays or that they took time off of work. These are completely jobless people. And it is a ticking time bomb that the other nations around us should even be securing their borders.
Okay, now talking about talking about patronizing locally made products, the ideology would be that locally made products would be a lot cheaper for people to purchase. But how do you achieve that? Seeing that, I mean, if the report that came out today is anything to go by, that Nigeria has spent 3.53 trillion naira in the first half of 2025 importing raw materials, which of course we know, and this is higher than what it was last year. Last year was 2.95 trillion naira. And this year, first half of the year, Nigeria has spent 3.53 trillion naira importing raw materials, which of course we know will have a ripple effect on the price of goods produced with those raw materials, which might make them even more expensive to purchase. So, is it then viable? I don't know if you've ever visited a supermarket. Sorry, please. Allow me to land on my thoughts. I don't know if you've ever visited a supermarket and they present 2 tins of milk to you, and they tell you this is made in Nigeria, this is made in Holland or somewhere, but the prices are relatively the same, basically the same. Go ahead, please.
Yes, okay. The truth of the matter is that what Nigerian government is not understanding is that why other nations are working is that they try to create incentives, and in most cases subsidizes the production of these products, thus making it affordable for their own citizens. When I hear people do comparisons between our dear country and other nations, they say, okay, with the 10 euros, this is what it can get you. And you bring it home and say, okay, if you convert it, probably about 17,000 plus now, this is XYZ what it can get you. But they forget that the 10 euro can actually feed a family. Yes? Feed a family to the brim. At least even if it's a one-time meal, but they've eaten very healthy meal, balanced with all that is required. But today, the same 10 euros cannot afford you a single plate in any good eatery in Nigeria. No matter where it is located, be it even in the southeast or in the north. That shows you there's a critical problem. In most countries within Europe, you're looking at the minimum wages at between 1,700. This takes care of housing, takes care of food, takes care of transportation, takes care of everything basically. In fact, they still have savings amounts. Then you come back to the production points. The reasons why they're thriving is because they look at what are the biggest problems that these producers are having. Is it electricity? Okay, we'll address it. If you cannot afford to, we'll give you subsidies. We'll make it easier so that you can be able to put out products from this same production, because they know that so long as you're producing, you're getting people employed. You're also providing alternative foods for people.
All right.
So that not just that there is food, but there is choices. Today, Nigerians are limited. What has happened to all the beautiful meals we had while growing up? We talk about now rather, it is depleting.
All right, I'm happy that you brought us to
the industries are closing down, are shutting down on a daily basis.
Beautiful.
Why? Because it's no longer sustainable to produce.
Exactly.
First of all,
exactly the
they
point.
don't have. Then even when you produce, the logistics to move the products from one place to the other, it's not there. If it's there at all, it is beyond imagination. It is so expensive.
Okay.
By the time it gets to the end users, it has tripled. Then the middle distributors, who are probably the supermarkets or the wholesale dealers, we put in their own profit.
All right. Okay. Yes, Chijioke, thank you very much. I would like to stay with you. We understand all of this. Now, going forward, what should we do as a people? If you were in government, if you were asked to advise the government, what advice would you give the government? What policies should they put in place? What steps, what measures should they put in place to have a reversal of this situation, so that we can start living, like normal people in our own homeland, like people in Europe do, and other parts of the world that are doing well? What should the government do in terms of policy initiatives, measures to put on ground so that we can, because I don't see people in Europe trying to rush to Nigeria or to Africa to buy made in African products, but we always rush to Europe to buy made in Europe products. So what should we do to reverse that trend? We are done with problems. Now let's look at solutions.
Okay, good. The first solution is abolish the idea of selling raw materials out there. It is not profitable. Why? Because the indices are against our own currency. Imagine how much raw materials you need to sell to get $1 million. And what does $1 million afford to you today? A basic flat in Lekki or probably some environs. Basic, not the real top-notch. What equipment can $1 million get for you in the Western world? Very basic mean, very. So what it simply means that using what you have to get what you need. We have the raw materials being exported, and this time they come back in finished or semi-finished products, and in most cases we have to buy them 10 times or even 15 times more. And then the government puts its taxes on it, it becomes even more exaggerating in terms of cost. Look at how to, first of all, empower the people. How do you empower the people? The first thing to invest in is knowledge. Let an average Nigerian see that the waste collector is a meaningful job. It's even a job that most Nigerians go to do in diaspora. Let the average Nigerian see that the welder is a meaningful job. Which are the voices and the expectation from the NOA, the Nigerian, what you call it, NOA, Nigerian Orientation Agency, should be promoted. Let Nigerians begin to see that having one Moruf or Ayodele or Haruna as just one mechanic, you have to drive several kilometers to go and fix your car. Meanwhile, every street you pass on every part of the country, you see idle men and women whiling away time, playing Ludo and bettings on a daily basis. That you can engage these people, even if in 3 months trainings, they can either become useful to themselves or to the society or to their families. And the first thing is knowledge base. When you impart knowledge, you now begin to provide the means to doing it. People have said a lot about agriculture, but yet, how much of our land is being cultivated?
All right.
And yet every day, Nigerians begin to, wonder out of the blue that things should happen automatically. Yes, because they're looking at the government who they expect should know better. But it's obvious the government, let's not play politics of jokes with it or imaginations that things are going to become better automatically. No. Okay. The truth of the matter is that the people in governance today have not shown any credibility of knowledge.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Oji Alexander.
Address the gaps of the need. The need is that lack of knowledge, lack of entrepreneurship is missing across board in Nigeria. And the minute you begin to create this, you have created a complete nation that is working.
Exactly.
Look at it in the area of road construction.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Alexander. I sincerely appreciate it. We need to get to Port Harcourt to get Chief Dr. Emmanuel Ray and I'm join the conversation. Chief Dr. Emmanuel Ray, good morning, if you can hear me.
Good morning. Good morning, Nigerians.
Thank you so much. I know you've been part of the conversation. We've talked about what Dangote said and also pointed out the fact that things are not the way it should be in Nigeria, especially, Nigerians not having trust in using made in Nigerian products. But the president made a statement when he went for the 53rd Manufacturers Association of Nigeria Summit. We have 6 points from the president. He says that first, that the federal government is going to reform the federal procurement. Secondly, enforcing quality and standards also so that consumer trust will be built in Nigeria. They will have expanding export, improving access and finance, addressing energy and logistics, and developing skills and impute security also to be part of what we're going to do. He promised that this is part of the agenda that he has. Now, are we going to see Nigeria anytime, be that strong in producing what they are to eat or what they are to use? And are we going to see Nigerian politicians or even those who happen to be rich and mighty use or utilize all these things if they've been produced in Nigeria too? Because we're looking for a way for us to make more money and for us also to stay stable economically and financially.
For me, talk is cheap. The president today is not the first person that have discussed or said everything he had said had been in the papers for God knows as how long. It's an issue of pursuing the things we say. It's an issue of implementing the things we say. Now, the last speaker was asked initially, what do we do to solve the problem? You have 36 plus one state in this country, for instance. What are the problems for manufacturers? Basically, they provide light, energy, they provide roads, they provide every other thing. Can these 36 states plus the Federal Capital Territory 37 take it as a duty to say, we will build industrial parks, we will build innovation centers, and make it the free zone type of a thing? Light is provided, the basic issues, there will be minimal tax for this level of persons operating in these places, and then we will choose areas where our imports seem to be high. That's what this advice, no advice could be better than that kind of advice. Until you begin to buy things manufactured within you, you cannot give your currency value. The reason why the dollar is playing the naira right, left, and center is very simple. Our consumption is dependent from outside, and the dollar is what controls that outside. Simple. So, what can government do? If you can't give the entire Nigeria light, choose these centers and provide those basic power, energy for these people to do the things they know how to do. The other expert is one my colleague raised, where he's talked about reorienting Nigerians. Come to Aba, they make shoes, they call it Gushi. You won't hear them call the shoe Namdi, Emeka. They call it Gushi, they call it all the beautiful names outside. And that is because that is what the average consumer wants to see to buy. I've said on this platform before that our biggest problem is food. By the time some of us started working, our salary was never used for food. We made food for ourselves. We had our small gardens for ourselves. Nigerians should begin to think of how to spend less to get things.
Okay, Dr. Emmanuel, the way you say that our problem is food, you know, a lot of people will also think that our problem has to do with our value orientation. I say that in the light of the fact that when India was coming up, you know, there was this mantra in India: if you don't want to wear Indian-made goods, Indian-made clothes, you go naked. If you don't want to wear Indian-made shoes, then you go barefoot and all of that. If you don't want to drive Indian-made cars, then you trek and all of that. That kind of concept, isn't it a problem that we have here, that we always try to identify? I mean, if you walk into the streets, you know, when someone looks at you, he wants to see that that their trousers, you know, the pants are imported, that the shoes, like you said, are Italian shoes, that the suit you are wearing is Italian shoe. Italian suit? Isn't that a problem of value orientation? Don't we need to change all of that concept before we can get it right?
Yeah, I said that we need to do serious value reorientation, particularly from the top. You cannot be telling Nigerians to buy made in Nigerian goods when all you use around you is foreign. We had a time in Rivers State when the state government wanted people to ensure you're employing Rivers persons, and I asked simple questions. I remember working then with the Nigerian Engineering Works. And went to the State Assembly, I looked around, all the ACs we found in the State Assembly were imported ACs. All the fans we saw were imported ACs. Meanwhile, these are things we were manufacturing in Nigerian Engineering Works. And so the question was, how will I employ Rivers persons when everything that comes from the taxes Rivers will pay is sent outside to get things from outside? Because employment is a function of capacity utilization. The manufacturing firms we have in Nigeria, what capacity are they utilizing? Most of them are below 30, 20. And that's because there's no sales. So if government, who is the major buyer himself, buys every other thing that is imported, then followership begin to copy. That's one major problem. So to do that orientation, we must start with government. The president, you used India as example. When the Prime Minister of Britain visited India at those periods, she was made.
All right then. All right, thank you very much, Dr. Emmanuel.
To ride in India cars with the President of India, with the Prime Minister of India. Can that happen in Nigeria?
Okay, I think that one day we'll get there because we are with this Nigeria First policy. Let's see how far we can drive it. I would like for you to stay with us as we get into the next topic of conversation. Same with